So foods that have a low glycemic index include such foods as strawberries and peanuts and skim milk. Hello everyone, my name is Kim. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, a certified diabetes care and education specialist, a certified nutrition support clinician, and owner of KimRoseDietitian.com. Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. So I know last year it was crazy for everyone, and me personally, things just have gotten really busy. So in this video, I want to speak about a question that I get asked a lot, and that is about the glycemic index. The different type of foods that we eat impact our blood sugars differently, and the glycemic index was created in the 1980s, I think it was 1981, don't quote me on that, in order to help people that have diabetes to be able to select foods that wouldn't really have a great impact on their blood sugars. So the glycemic index specifically measures how foods that have carbohydrates in them impact your blood sugar numbers. So foods which have carbohydrates in them are your fruits, your starchy vegetables, your beans, some of your dairy products, and your whole grains. Now, don't be confused. Your body does need carbohydrates in order for it to function properly. But truth be told, there are some foods which may spike your blood sugars a little more than others. So for starters, let's review the glycemic index. So the glycemic index rates food on a scale of 1 all the way to 100. Anything that has a closer numerical value to 1 doesn't really spike the blood sugar as drastically as those foods that have a numerical value closer to 100. Additionally, the glycemic index can be broken up into 3 categories. You have the low, the moderate or intermediate, and then you have the high values. So foods that have a low glycemic index are foods that have a value of 55 or less. Foods that have an intermediate or moderate glycemic index are foods that have a value between 55 and 70. And foods that have a high glycemic index have a value of 70 or higher. So I wanted to give you guys an example, and this is not by any means an all-inclusive list of foods that have a low, a moderate, and a high glycemic index. So foods that have a low glycemic index include such foods as strawberries and peanuts and skim milk. Foods that have a moderate glycemic index include sweet potatoes as well as pineapples. And foods that have a high glycemic index are foods such as white bread, honey, and table sugar, just to name a few. So there are many other factors that can impact the glycemic index as well. Certain foods may have a different combination of fat, fiber, and protein that may impact how rapidly or how slowly these foods are absorbed into the gastrointestinal tract. So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, okay, Kim, well then should I only consume foods that have a low glycemic index or a moderate glycemic index? And the answer to that is not necessarily. There's certain foods, there's actually a chocolate bar, which I'm not going to mention here in this video, that has a low glycemic index, but it is considered to be a, I don't want to say unhealthy, but it's not really a nutrient dense food. So when you make food decisions based on the glycemic index, it can be misleading because foods that have a low glycemic index are not, at times, nutritionally dense. So a better approach to reducing chronic diseases and possibly managing blood sugar levels is to choose foods that have a high nutrient density, not necessarily foods based off of their glycemic index. So foods that have a high fiber content, foods that contain whole grains and lean meats, as well as fruits and vegetables and nuts and legumes are a better choice than just simply choosing foods based on their glycemic index. So guys, there you have it. This is all about the glycemic index, why you should not necessarily base all your food choices off of the glycemic index, and how you can start eating a more nutrient-dense diet. So let me say this finally in closing as a disclaimer. This video was made for educational as well as entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to replace any type of medical advice. So if you have a question about your specific diet, your specific blood sugars, I will highly recommend that you speak with your primary care provider or your other medical practitioner so that they can guide you properly. If you would like to work with me, please go ahead and follow the link in the comment section below. Have a good day. Bye-bye.